Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about soft savings versus being broke in 10 years. What do I mean by soft savings? Well, soft savings is, you're doing the minimum. You're saying things like, I have to enjoy life. I need to live. Life ain't promised, so I'm going to live every day like it's the last. Yeah, you're paying your bills. Your credit is okay, but you're not really focused on how am I going to be or what position will I be in 5 years, 10 years from now? Well, actually, if you have this soft saving mentality, I hate to tell you, but I need to tell you that you're going to be broke. You're going to run into some problems 5 to 10 years down the road. If you haven't noticed, inflation is a real thing. What do I mean by inflation? 5 years ago, you could get a one-bedroom apartment for probably $1,400 in a decent neighborhood. Here in 2026, to live in a nice neighborhood in a one-bedroom apartment, you're looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000. That's scary. That's inflation. Everything is going up in price around us, and it's going up faster than our wages. We're not getting, 10, 15% raises every year, but yet we're seeing 10% increases in things like groceries, homes, where we live, apartment, things like that. So the question is, what are you going to do about it so that you can be prepared? Okay, so the other side of that is there are things happening in our society, in the United States, actually around the world, that is going to impact you. That's going to impact us. We hear on social media every day about AI. We're actually using some of the AI tools, but we're not thinking about how AI is going to impact us. Well, AI is going to take a lot of jobs. I don't care what people are saying. There are a whole lot of people. I know some relatives, some people that are very close to me. They're saying, oh, my job will be around forever. No, that's not the case. Look at robotics. Look at the things that are happening. You go in a grocery store, you go in Home Depot, and it's self-checkout. There's no longer a person needed to check you out. There are electronic devices that you go and you check yourself out. There are stores that I've heard of. I haven't actually seen one yet. But I hear, for example, like there's an Apple store in New York. There's an Apple store out west. I think it's in Vegas, where you walk in and there is nobody there to actually physically help you. You walk in, it scans your phone, you go in, you pick out the items that you want, and it'll automatically deduct from your Apple Pay when you walk out the door. If you walk out the door with an item, the system calls the police. So there is no human being needed. Robotics. This is the one that kills me. If you're a Trump lover, this is going to hurt your feelings, but it's fact. One of the things that our government leadership, Trump and his party, what they're saying is that they're going to bring jobs back over here from overseas. Our tech, our phones, our cars, everything's being made overseas. And Donald Trump is saying that he's going to bring those things back here. Well, the truth of the matter is he may bring those things back here, but by the time they get here, robots will be doing what humans used to do. So we will still be lacking in the employment area. We're not going to get those manufacturing jobs. It'll be given to robots. So don't bank on that. You want to do some things that are going to change your life, add to your skill set, add to your education. And the biggest thing is to start putting your money into things that are going to benefit you as this world changes, and it's changing very fast. Now, what are some of those things that you can do that's going to change your life financially? One of the simple things that any and everybody can do is, number one, get your credit score up above a 700. Why do you want to do that? You want to do that so that you can buy some of the simplest things that are going to take care of you in your future. And number one, being a home. If you buy a home, for example, I bought a home in 2018 for $250,000. And in 2020, I sold that same house for a little bit over $400,000. So that was a $150,000 net gain. I walked away from the closing table with $150,000. Why? Because I had credit to purchase that house. I bought in a neighborhood that I thought was going to grow in value. So that $150,000, it allowed me money to go and make another investment on another property. I could have taken that $150,000 and invested it in the stock market, which since 2000 has gone up substantially. So I could have made money in either area, or I could have taken that money and bought a business. In fact, in my case, I did take some of that money and reinvest it into my business. As you know, if you've been watching my videos, my wife and I have been in the childcare industry for 30 years. So we did reinvest some of that money into our business. So there are other things that you can do. So you can invest in your 401k if you're not maxed out in your 401k. That's one of my suggestions. Go ahead and max out. Go talk to your HR department and find out what's the cap. Speaking of 401ks, did you know that most 401ks with most employers, for example, if you put $50, they often match that or match a portion of it. So talk to your HR and find out how you can make money, how you can get free money from your employer through matching investments. Another idea is to have your own brokerage account. There's something that we call ETFs. It's electronic. Okay, just because I'm saying that, it's not coming to me right now, but ETFs, look that up. It's basically a hodgepodge of stocks that you can invest in. You're not investing in individual stocks because, hey, the truth is, I know I don't know everything about every company. I don't know all the fundamentals, say, for example, of NVIDIA or Google. I don't know the fundamentals. I may not be able to look at their numbers and determine if that's a good investment right now. So there are what you call ETFs, the hodgepodge of stocks that are moving up. And when stocks start doing bad, that stock will come out of that fund. So say, for example, you invest in the SPY. That's a fund that matches the Standard & Poor's index. It's the top 500 companies in this world that are, financially doing well. So when companies start doing bad, they're removed from that hodgepodge of companies, that investment fund. So at any given time, you have the top 500 or whatever the number of stocks in that ETF, you have the top companies. So if you don't understand the market, just investing in the S&P, the Standard & Poor's, or the SPY, which is the equivalent, you can earn money. If you had been investing in the S&P or SPY for the last 5 years, you would have gained somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 40% on your money. This beats taking your money and going on 3 or 4 trips every year, buying the latest designer shoes. This is not what you want to do. You want to put your money in places where you can live comfortably and have a good future. So another thing that you want to do, you want to eliminate some debt. Take some of your extra money. You don't even actually, before you start investing, you want to pay off some high interest debt. If you have a car loan that's, 17, 18, even 20% interest, maybe you want to pay that off before you start investing. It doesn't make sense to invest in the stock market where you might earn 10%, but yet you have a 20% car loan. That means your money is just leaking out simply because of that car loan. Pay off the high debt. Look at your debt and see what's the highest debt out there, what's the highest interest you're paying, and you want to get rid of those items first. And then once you pay that debt down, you want to put aside an emergency fund, money that can take care of you. If things go wrong, if this economy continues towards a recession, you want to have money that you can lean on in the event you're laid off, you're terminated, or just inflation just gets so high. That would be hyperinflation. I won't get into that. We'll talk about it another time. Hyperinflation is accelerated recession. You go to the store today, a gallon of milk costs $4. You go to that same store next week, that same gallon of milk is now $7. That's an example of hyperinflation. And there's a big possibility that we could end up in those type situations. It's happening in other countries, and it can happen to us, despite what people will tell you. Another investment that, one of the ones that I like, and let me give my disclaimer now, I am not a financial advisor. Don't take my advice on anything. I'm telling you some of the things that I do, and you may want to do them, but I am not a financial advisor. I like commodities. I like investing in things like gold, silver. There are stocks out there where or ETFs that you can invest in. And those stocks are primarily holding silver, gold, other commodities, platinum, things like that, whatever you might be interested in. I personally like the gold and silver market because as our economy, as the dollar decreases in value, those items become the investment that people want to put their money in because it's safe. Gold and silver has been around since Jesus and it's not going nowhere. I'm not a big advocate of Bitcoin because it's really only 10 or 15 years old, but silver and gold has been around for over 4,000 years. So I highly like that. And you can do that by investing in the market for silver and gold stocks, mining stocks to be more specific, companies that actually dig gold and silver out. That's something you can do. So if you were to put some money into, an ETF, some gold, silver, something like that, versus taking 3 or 4 trips overseas, you're going to have something 5 or 10 years now that's going to really benefit you. So that's where I'm headed with that. I want you to do the things that are going to benefit you. You guys have heard me say that successful people do today what others won't do so that they can have tomorrow what others won't have. Put your money somewhere where it's going to grow. So that's my point. I'm going to cut that off for today because I'm starting to ramble here. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope that you will like, share, subscribe, and help me to build this channel. I appreciate you. Peace. See you next time.